Welcome to WakeGOV TV. I'm Eric Curry. We have several stories lined up for you today. With warm weather, food trucks are not far behind. We'll share with you what's being done to make them safe. Plus, we stop by the Wake County Fire Training Facility as they prepare the newest crop of public servants. But first, the Wake County Transit Investment Strategy is a new effort to engage people from all corners and walks of life in planning our future. The strategy is a partnership that includes 8 agencies and relies on public involvement. The mission? To develop a broad vision and goals for transit investment in Wake County. WakeGOV TV's Sarah Williamson Baker has more.
The Wake County Transit Investment Strategy is a new effort to engage people from all corners and walks of life in planning for our future. The strategy is a partnership that includes 8 agencies and relies on public involvement. A 76-member Transit Advisory Committee has worked to develop a broad vision and goals for transit investment in Wake County.
I think there are several things we're doing differently here. First of all, we really want to have a conversation with the community about what your ultimate goals of transit are.
One of our real commitments in our approach to this project, and it's the way my firm approaches most planning projects, is that we don't believe that we should go off over here as experts and come up with a plan and then come back to the public and say, here's the plan, what do you think? We need the public and the community much more actively involved in creating the plan. And that's why we've designed a process in which there's an extraordinary amount of communication with the public at several stages.
So all the way through this is very dependent on community participation, people's engagement in the process, and that's really what's going to get us to the best possible plan.
Now let's look at the technology options that are being considered. Bus Rapid Transit, or BRT, focuses on infrastructure improvements to make buses run faster and more reliably, such as dedicated travel lanes. The key advantage is that BRT can be scaled directly to demand and can be implemented incrementally. This will help keep the investment affordable and allow us to consider many corridors within a few years. Because these improvements would be focused on the most congested areas, they could help existing routes to move more quickly and make commutes faster. Rail Rapid Transit uses the same corridor as freight railroads. The service consists of diesel multiple units and can be used at any frequency. It could be offered in express or commuter services. RRT costs less than light rail transit and can offer reliable and frequent rail service through many communities. 4 transit plan options have been developed for our community to review and discuss. Transit Advisory Committee members will walk us through these scenarios, starting with 2 that provide the most bus rapid transit service. Keep in mind that these scenarios are to facilitate conversation. The final plan could be a combination of various aspects of each of these scenarios. Please help us plan for our future by determining how the different options and alternatives could and should be changed to best fit our community.
My name is Doug Taylor and I'm here to tell you about Bus Rapid Transit. Bus Rapid Transit uses buses to move the most people as frequently as possible. By improving route frequency, people have to spend less time waiting for their rides. There are 3 major Bus Rapid Transit corridors on this map: downtown Raleigh through downtown Cary to RTP, Newbern Avenue through downtown Raleigh to Wake Med, and downtown Raleigh to the Wake Forest Atlantic Avenue split.
Hi, my name is Tazra Mitchell and I'm here to talk to you about the Bus Rapid Transit coverage model. In this model, the transit network is designed to provide transit access to everyone in the county. That means that if you further space out the buses, they can be closer to more people and businesses in every part of Wake. In the coverage model, routes are not as frequent because transit service is further spread out. But in a good number of cases, routes will still come every 30 minutes. In this model, the Bus Rapid Transit corridors are the same as those in the ridership model, but it also adds a new corridor coming south out of Raleigh into Garner.
Hi, my name is Jason Hibbets, and I'm here to talk today about frequency in regards to transit. The scenario around this utilizes diesel rail vehicles, but it also combines that with buses to be able to move people between rail service options and bus stations. By improving the route frequency, people spend less time waiting for their rides. There are going to be 2 rail corridors that you'll see on the map. First, we have one going from downtown Raleigh through downtown Cary, and eventually will take you to the Research Triangle Park. Then the other one will be between downtown Raleigh and will stem north to 440, and this is where we have a lot of businesses located.
Hi, my name is Jill Ricks, and I want to talk to you about the Rail Rapid Transit Coverage scenario. Like the previous scenario, it uses diesel, rail vehicles, and buses. It spreads buses out to more places in our community. By spreading the buses out, they can be closer to more people and businesses. In this scenario, routes are not as frequent, but a good number of routes still come every 30 minutes. 2 RRT corridors on this map: downtown Raleigh through downtown Cary to RTP, downtown Raleigh North to 440, where many businesses are located.
When reviewing the 4 transit plan options, think of our entire community. Consider people who are like you, as well as those who live in different areas and are in different economic situations. Reflect on how our community is growing today and what it may be like 10 years from now. If you have questions, speak to staff at any of the public events, visit waketransit.com, or call 919-856-5477. Also be sure that you fill out a feedback form. They're available on the website, at every library, and at every town hall in Wake County. We look forward to working with you on our transit strategy.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund breeding.
Why do you not get me?
I do. This is what it feels like for kids with learning and attention issues. Redirecting to understood.org.
As the weather gets warmer, there's going to be plenty of festivals to go around in the Triangle area, and that means good eating and food trucks. But what about the food trucks that need to be inspected? Well, we have someone here to talk a little bit about that. With us today to discuss the food safety and sanitation requirements for food vendors is James Smith with Wake County Environmental Services. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
James, of course, with the warmer weather, there's going to be a lot more outdoor events, many food trucks that will show up. What are the food and safety sanitation requirements for mobile food trucks in Wake County?
Food trucks are basically restaurants on wheels, and our rules treat them as such. Like a traditional restaurant, food trucks have to make sure that they're getting their food from approved sources, that they're holding it at the right temperatures, and that they're cooking it properly. Employees on food trucks need to make sure that they're washing their hands and that they're not contacting ready-to-eat foods with their bare hands. Food trucks also have to have a certified food protection manager aboard. They have to educate their employees on foodborne illnesses, and they have to report every day to a commissary for service and maintenance.
And to get certification, you can come to Wake County Environmental Services to get that.
Yeah, for the food protection manager certification, there are a lot of opportunities in the private sector as well, but we do offer a course here within Wake County.
How does your team handle the growing demand of inspections for these food trucks and food vendors becoming very popular?
Sure. You know, the whole restaurant business in Wake County is certainly booming, and food trucks are a big part of that. When a new food truck gets their permit, they're assigned to one of our inspectors. That inspector is responsible for making sure that the food truck is inspected on a regular basis. With so many food trucks, though, it really is, you know, it's a team effort. Our inspectors often share information, for example, about where we've seen food trucks operating. And if we're out in the field doing other inspections, we'll often inspect the food trucks as we find them to help the other inspectors out.
How often are food trucks supposed to be inspected?
Food trucks are typically supposed to be inspected about 3 times a year. Push carts are typically supposed to be inspected about twice a year. In practice, there's a little bit of variation there. You know, some food trucks operate very seasonally, other ones operate year-round. Some food trucks only operate at festivals, and others move from office to office and operate just about every day. There are even quite a few food trucks that travel from county to county over the course of the year, and you know, all of those things can affect how often we can actually find them to do their inspections.
Now, are the requirements for a brick and mortar restaurant any different than with a food truck? Obviously, one's on wheels, one's stationary, but are there some differences there that can be challenging for inspectors?
Sure, yeah. Food trucks, for the most part, do have very similar requirements to restaurants. A food truck, for instance, still has to have restaurant-grade equipment. They still have to make sure that they have adequate food storage facilities and hand washing facilities and ware washing facilities. Like you said, most of the differences between traditional restaurants and food trucks have to do with the mobile nature of the truck. A traditional restaurant will have permanent connections to water and sewage, for example. A food truck won't. So a food truck has to have their own water system and their own way of storing and disposing of wastewater. Another thing that's really important with food trucks that sets them apart from traditional restaurants is that they really don't have any wiggle room on keeping up with their maintenance. A food truck, because it has such a small space and limited facilities, has to cease operations until even what would seem like fairly minor violations are corrected. For instance, something simple like running out of water or having a refrigerator that's not working can cause a food truck to have to close until they can get that fixed.
You ask most patrons when they go into a brick and mortar restaurant, the first thing that they may look for is that sanitation sign.
One of the things that's actually changed just in the last couple of years is that food trucks now are actually required to have a grade posted just like a traditional restaurant. So if a resident of Wake County sees a food truck and they don't see that card, I would highly suggest that they call us so we can find out what's going on with it. Wake County residents are also always welcome to visit our website, www.wakegov.com/food. We have a lot of good information on there. We have sanitation scores for both restaurants and food trucks. We have copies of the rules that govern both restaurants and food trucks, and we have contact information for all of our staff. Residents are also, of course, welcome to call our main office number at 919-856-7400.
Okay, James Smith with Wake County Environmental Services, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
More.
This new mom is struggling to get the skates just right. Now she's holding on for dear life.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of siblings in foster care will take you just as you are.
Welcome back. The Wake County Board of Commissioners recently held a public hearing for Wake County Human Services fiscal year 2015 through 2020 Affordable Housing Consolidated Plan. The plan describes the housing and community revitalization needs for low to moderate income families here in the county. Joining us to talk about the plan is Anne Marie Marano, the director, and Emily Fishbein, the community development planner with the county's Housing and Community Revitalization Office. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Eric.
I guess the first question is, what is this consolidated plan?
So the Consolidated Plan is a 5-year strategic plan that's required by us to submit to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. It's a comprehensive plan. It addresses the housing and community development needs throughout the county. It describes the needs of the population, the market analysis of the situation in the county, the programs that we intend to do to help fulfill those needs.
Now, Anne Marie, why is this plan so important to Wake County?
So the plan is important, first of all, because it's a requirement in order for us to receive significant grants from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. We receive community development block grant funds, home funds, and housing opportunities for persons with AIDS funds as a result of the plan. But it's really, Eric, more than a grant application. It is a single document that guides housing policy throughout Wake County. So we have our grant requirements in there, but we also have a full listing of all of the programs that are run through Wake County, and it explains how we're going to use those programs in tandem with the grant money to meet the housing and community development needs over the next 5 years. In this case, it's 2015 through 2020. So it's important. It's important that we set the priorities and that we go and that we consistently follow through and implement in our budgets what the needs are, or what the programs are that address the needs.
Okay, well, Emily, does the development of this plan, does it involve any kind of community process?
Yes, it involves an extensive community process. I went out into the communities. I had about 13 different meetings with different groups to inform them about the plan, to gather input so we can directly address the needs that we heard about. Some of these meetings were with service providers, some of them were with tenant councils at affordable apartment complexes, and some were regional meetings for citizens. I also met individually with the planning directors of all 9 towns in Wake County to talk to them about their community development needs. We also had 2 public hearings which were held here at the county to gather even more input.
Anne-Marie, what are some of the programs that operate as a result of this plan?
Yes, we've got some really great programs. We've got some programs that we've been operating for 20 years. We make repairs to the homes, to people who live in homes that are either elderly or disabled. These repairs help them to stay in their home, and they prevent them from prematurely having to go to a nursing facility simply because they can't use their home. We help with ramps and upgrades to bathrooms, and we eliminate trip hazards and widen doorways. And these might seem like simple repairs, but they make or break whether or not somebody gets to stay in the house and live independently as long as they possibly can, which is what most people want to do. We also do gap financing. We make loans and grants to developers of affordable housing up throughout the county, and we've been doing this program for a long time too. It's important to note that all of the housing that Wake County has any assistance in or participation in is all privately owned. And we have about 2,700 units throughout the county right now of housing specifically for people who are low and moderate income and or people who have special needs, special disability. But we also do, every year we look, or every 5 years actually, as we do this consolidated planning process, we don't just keep to the same programs. We look as our population changes, what the specific needs are for the population. We have a small amount of money compared to a great need. So we really have to target and partner with other agencies and entities to maximize the dollars. In the past, we've done a large focus on people who have a mental illness, the street homeless, to try to get housing and services. We also provide rental assistance because we know we can't build our way out of the deficit of affordable housing. We have enough money for about 100 units a year. We've got a demand for about 25,000 units. So we also work with over 70 landlords and provide rental assistance for people who are homeless and disabled, who live in the housing and then receive services in the housing.
And you mentioned a little bit about the homeless. The county does a great job, and I'm sure your staff would like to do more as it relates to getting members of this community into some type of safe, affordable housing.
Absolutely, and we do focus. The Consolidated Plan has an entire section that's dedicated toward the needs of the homeless population. We have about 1,100 homeless people in Wake County on any given night. And what we've done through Emily's leadership is we are working with the city of Raleigh to develop a single homeless plan, because it never made much sense to us that the homeless plan for the county would be different than the homeless plan for the city. The city has its own community development department, and they receive the same grants that we do. They basically spend their money in the city, and we spend our money outside the city, but homelessness really transcends a municipal barrier. You're homeless in Garner or you're homeless in Raleigh. One day you're homeless in Garner, one day you're homeless in Raleigh. So it makes sense to have a seamless approach, which for the first time this year in this consolidated plan we're doing, and Emily and I are very excited about that.
Well, good news there. Emily, what are some of the priorities of this plan for the next 5 years?
Well, Anne-Marie was just talking with you, Eric, about the homeless situation, about how we'd like to address that. So one of the priorities is to have sort of a one-stop shop, a central intake center for homeless individuals and families to present, so that if somebody's homeless, they know where to go. They don't have to figure out a complicated system just to get the assistance that they really need. And from there, they can then receive more specific assistance. So that's a priority. Another priority, speaking of homeless again, is we've noticed from these community meetings and conversations that there's really a dearth of shelter housing for single women. A lot of agencies will focus on families, as they should, focusing on children, but a lot of times single women don't have a shelter bed. So that's one area we're focusing on. In addition, another group that has emerged as having needs is youth who are aging out of foster care. the Wake County Human Services has a big foster care program for youth, but when they reach a certain age, they often have no opportunities. So that's a need that we're going to partner with the Hope Center, which is an agency that works with these children. Another priority is veterans. Veterans are always a priority, and we're very concerned that we can do enough to help veterans with housing. 2 more priorities would be affordable housing for seniors. As we know, the population is aging. And Anne-Marie mentioned our rehabilitation program, so that's an area of importance, as well as continuing to build affordable housing for seniors, as well as the affordable housing for families and affordable housing for working low-income people.
Okay, and Anne-Marie, what other information have you discovered about the current consolidated plan?
So I think the things that, and I've been involved with the county for a number of consolidated plans, and the real thing that we're doing with this 2015 to 2020 plan is, really making it a seamless plan with other municipalities. Now, we do partner with 9 towns already, but, Cary has its own consolidated plan and Raleigh has its own consolidated plan. And what we're really trying to do is align our goals and objectives and align our priorities. So that's definitely different. And Emily and I are just really excited about being able to offer something to youth who are aging out of foster care. Because we have services, but we don't have housing. And a lot of times these kids just don't have a way to address what they need to do to become self-sufficient and go out and get the job that they need to also pay their rent. And it ends up being very stressful for them as they're trying to navigate their way through figuring out what they're going to do with the rest of their lives. So if we can offer a little stability for a short term in housing, they can go to school and possibly get a degree, and then they can go on to be more self-sufficient. So this speaks volumes to prevention, because we do know that youth aging out of foster care are at risk for homelessness. And so if we can prevent it with this short-term rental assistance, then we've helped somebody not slip into homelessness and have to get them at that end.
Good points. And finally, when do you expect some of the activities to begin to take effect?
So the plan, July 1st of 2016 is when our new fiscal year begins, and we'll come out of the gates running with that. So I think that really we'll have our 1-year budget set up, and July 1st is the year that we'll start our next consolidated plan.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Both. Anne-Marie Mariano, Emily Fishbein with Wake County Human Services, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
People think I'm trash, but they're wrong. Today I'm just an aluminum can, but one day I could be a stadium.
The Wake County Fire Services Training Program was established in 1988, and it provides a comprehensive, centralized, and professional fire training program for the county's 19 contracting departments, as well as the Raleigh Fire Department and the Raleigh-Durham Airport Authority. This 8-acre training center consists of classroom space, a burn building, a drill tower, and 3 exterior LP gas pits, and has water drafting capabilities. The center is used year-round and is operated by Wake County in coordination with the following partners: Wake County Firefighters Association, Wake Technical Community College, and the North Carolina Fire and Rescue Commission.
This week is the recruits' 21st week of a 26-week fire academy. And so today is their first day of live fire control, which is a state certification, part of their state certification for Firefighter 2. And so today they're learning teamwork while under fire conditions, and advancing hose lines and preparing for suppression of an outside fire. It is physically demanding as well as mentally demanding. So not only do they experience labor-intensive days like today, but they also have to study, even at home. They have to maintain an 80 average in the academy. So there are high expectations. And so, we're looking for a good candidate when they graduate a well-rounded candidate that's been exposed to emotional challenges as well as physical challenges. In the Fire Academy, they will get several certifications, and those are certified through the state of North Carolina, the state fire marshal's office. And so some of those certifications are Firefighter 2, EMT Basic, Emergency Medical Technician Basic, ICS, Hazardous Materials, Survival Training, and a couple other training classes that we throw in that are not necessarily certification classes, but other classes that they really need before going to work in a fire department.
I decided I wanted to become a fireman because I wanted to be more involved with my community. I wanted a job where it's hard work, but you're able to go out every day and make a difference for somebody. With this job, it's not like any other job. You can go out and you can be running some errands with your crew, and then just like that, you'll get a call and you'll be able to go out and help somebody out who's having a bad day and make that day better for them. Here at the Wake County Fire Academy, we're learning about fire behavior, fire suppression, ventilation, which is going up onto the roofs and coordinating with the engine team who's going in and fighting the fire, how to properly ventilate. We're also learning about EMS, so emergency medical technicians, so we learn about how to deal with emergency situations so we can help the paramedics when we get on first scene with traumas and anything like with breathing difficulties, chokings, things like that. If you're interested in getting into the fire service, I would recommend that you go to your local fire station and get involved, start volunteering. You'll learn a lot about the service if you like it or not, and just keep learning each day. You can take some classes, do your research, try it out.
The best contact information is to email me at rdorsey@wakegov.com, or my office number is 919-856-6345. Feel free to call, leave a message. I have information that I can send email back to anyone that is interested. I would anticipate sometime in August of 2015 we'll probably open the application process again for the next academy. So feel free to contact.
Keep up with the latest news and information on Wake County news and events by visiting us online at wakegov.com/news or on Facebook or Twitter. Thanks for watching.